Hello, everyone. I want to first welcome you all here. I'm looking at the attendance list here, which I can see, of course, and I see so many people that have been missing for a while and have returned this evening. So, you know who you are. I want to welcome everyone back, and I'm just really excited to see some of these names that I haven't seen for a while. So, I guess that means that time is freeing itself up a little bit in your lives. Welcome back. And of course, there are always a few new people. So those of you who are new to my psychic hour, I want to welcome you with big, big, wide open arms. We're a community here, right here online that meets monthly for these. I don't know if you want to call it psychic hour free Q&A with my guides and I. However it works in your mind, that's what it is to all of us. It's always a lot of fun. And of course, I've got my core group of people that are always with me. And folks, blessings to you because I cherish you and I think you are just the greatest to be here with me month after month, especially when we're competing with some great things on TV like awards. So when I see that you're choosing my program over the television, I'm especially excited. So thank you so much for being here. Um, I'm going to go over a few ground rules. So for those of you who are new to my psychic hour, pay close attention. I'm going to go over a few what I call housekeeping things first. I always do that. And after that, we're going to be going onto the actual Q&A, the questions and answers. All of the questions are going to be worked through Lisa. And of course, Lisa is the person who's managing the chat room right now. So you can either put your question into the chat room, and sometimes she can answer it herself if it's generic. If not, she can route it through to me. Or you can raise your hand. You see a little hand on your screen. You can raise your hand. And Lisa is the person who decides who is going to get called on. I sometimes say to her, Lisa, how do you know who to call on? Because she usually manages to get some of the most interesting conversations going here online. So she really picks the right people. And she said, my guides tell me. so, so Lisa is also being guided in who to call on. Frankly, she tries to call on people who are new or who haven't been here in a while first. Or if her intuition says this person really has an important question that's going to be pertinent to everyone, she'll call on them. I will not get to answer all of your questions directly in tonight's session. I will do as many of them as I have time for, but I have a policy that if you have given up your evening to be with me for this next hour, and you stayed with me through the whole hour, and I didn't get to answer your question live, I give you the opportunity to ask me that one simple question via email. And you can either use the email that's right here on this site, or you can email Lisa, SAInc at AOL.com with your question. And that question will find its way to me. And somewhere over the next week or so, I will get to that question. I do answer all the questions. Just please be patient with me. So you know that if you are here and you stay till the end, whether I answer your question live or not, you are going to get a chance to ask your question if you have one. Now, that said, I have many, many people who come to these sessions and listen closely because we get kind of what is often is referred to as a Me Too syndrome. My guides, even though I may not personally be aware, my guides are connected to every single one of you who's listening to this session. And they have a way of answering your questions while they're talking to someone else. Okay? So listen, because if you've got a personal question, if you've got a personal problem, if you've got a particular situation, if you've got someone that you need to talk to, who you want to come through, it's absolutely amazing. My guides will manage to do that for you somewhere in this next hour. Okay? And I've even had people contact me who have listened to this session after the fact, where I posted it on YouTube, and said to me, my God, Sandy, it's like you were talking to me. How did you know I was even going to listen to it? So sometimes my guides even hit people who they know are going to listen to the session after the fact and need that information. So my guides are some pretty brilliant people, and I'm very, very grateful to them. You know, I always ask you when you're called on to first tell me your first name. We only want first names, not last names, because this will be published. So first names, where you're calling from, because that's just plain fun, and what you're most grateful for. I always ask that because gratitude is so important to how we move through life and how we feel about everything in our world. And folks, what I'm most grateful for, especially when I do these sessions, is my guides. It just warms my heart that they are here, always with me, always with you when we need them. Once we get through that, I'm going to ask you what your sun sign is, because this chart, which is on the screen here, is called a horary chart in astrology. And it tells me everything I need to know, tells my guides what they need to know about you. If you're here on the call tonight, or even if you tune in afterwards and they know you're going to do that because they see the future, guess what? They're going to be able to find you right here and give you information about your life from this chart. Now, this is a one-night throwaway chart. And once we're done with it, it's done. But tonight, it's going to talk to me and my guides about you. So when I talk about your sun sign, I'm going to be talking not just about you, but about many, many, many other people on the call. And then after that, you get to ask your personal question. So it's a little bit involved, but we get to a lot of amazing information. So let's get started with my housekeeping, okay? First off, here we are. This is, I can't believe, March 27th already. We're just getting ready to begin April. Oh my God. So we have 2 March specials that are good for 2 more days, or well, is it 2 more days? Yeah, I think it is. Just 2 or 3 more days. At any rate, it's good until April 1st. And that is coaching with me and my guides. I call it Finding Your Right Path. And the price on that is $250. It takes about a half an hour of your time. If you are really kind of lost right now and you need some direction, you know, coming to tonight's seminar was a good start. But getting that coaching with me, finding your right path, finding your way through the current obstacles in your life might be the thing that you need. Now, you can also get my Psychic Protection Tips Self-Study course at 50% off if you buy my March reading. That's the coaching reading, Defining Your Right Path. Or if you're a VIP, period. If you're a VIP, you can also get that self-study program for 50% off. And if you're a VIP, you know who you are and you know how that all works. Now, the second bunch of specials is pertinent to the whole month of April. And so that goes on for a long time. It's going to start on Friday. And you're going to get 20% off my reading special, which is a special on helping you to resolve financial issues, okay? And I know that sounds kind of broad. It's a lot more in depth than that, but I didn't want to take up all the space here on the screen. Folks, right now, our whole world is going through financial issues. My guides are going to channel that information for you about how all this stuff is affecting you, where your life is going, how you can make the best choices and decisions going forward for you and your loved ones to get over what present hurdles you're having. And that is going to be running all through April. So that's a real important special I'm running. And also during April, I'm giving you $50 off of my Tarot Readers program. And the reason I'm doing that is that a lot of you who really need to be able to bring in some extra money, and you have a very powerful interest in helping other people, and you've been interested in the tarot cards like I have here. Well, that program has probably graduated more professional tarot readers than any other tarot reading program in the world. And I'm not kidding, that's real. So if you're interested in learning something that's going to have you moving into doing professional psychic readings really quickly and doing them well, that program can do it. And right now, all through April, it's going to be starting Friday, and all through April, it's going to be available for $50 off. Obviously, I'm offering those specials because I want to be able to give people a little bit of an extra help during this time right now when everybody seems to be tightening the belt. Now, did you miss these web classes that I offered earlier this year? The Intro to Spirit Communication and the I'm Not Psychic or Am I? Those two webinars are really for people who are, have you been having visitations from people? Are you wondering what's going on here? Are you really a medium? Do you have psychic ability? Do you have an interest in getting it trained? So if those things interest you and you want to know more about them, then either one or both of those programs are going to be for you. They both are an hour long. And this third one, what's happening in 2022? Folks, I made predictions all the way back in December. A lot of those predictions are just beginning to happen right now. So if you're one of those people who really needs to have a little more guidance about what's going on in our world so you can feel more secure and solid about it, this might be exactly what you need to give you the foundation and the emotional stability that you need in your life right now. What's happening in 2022? All three of those programs available for $25 a piece on my website. Now, if you're a VIP, our next coaching call is on April 14th. Over here, the next psychic hour, folks, please make a note of this so that you make sure you're registered, because sometimes we do run out of spaces on here. Our next coaching call or next psychic hour is April 24th. So it's about a month from now, a little over a month. I am on the odd months of the year, the second week. I'm on Luminescence Common Sense Spirituality with Sharon Lynn Wyeth. She's a wonderful, wonderful podcast host. The next show that has me on it is May 12th, but remember, she has a weekly show. It's Thursday afternoons. I want to also make a note that we have an open forum right on my website, www.sandyanastasi. Go to it, because so many of us who have an interest in things psychic or have had psychic experiences that we feel uncomfortable sharing with our immediate family and friends, find a home on our open community, because you're going to find people there who are of like mind with you, that you can talk about anything to, and nobody's going to laugh at you. And if you're studying something, you're going to be able to find people to practice with who are going to be quite knowledgeable. So go ahead and take advantage of that. It's on my website, so it is not open to the world. You have to join my website by joining my email list to be able to get into the open forum. I'm not going to badger you with emails. You get one email a month from me. It's not overbearing. The thing is, you get to be part of a community where you don't have trolls, you don't get laughed at, and you can share from the heart and be welcomed by everyone. So if you're looking for that, be sure to join and participate. And of course, I have an app, so please download that too. And that takes care of just about everything here that I wanted to talk about, and we're ready to get going. So Lisa, who is our first person with a good question for me this evening?
Okay, the first person I'm going to call on tonight is Kelly. Kelly, can you unmute yourself?
Yep.
Hello, Kelly.
Hi, Sandy. Hi, Lisa.
Okay, Kelly. First question. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Virginia, and I am a Libra, and I am grateful for my family.
And that's perfect, because I'm looking at the house. Here's a Libra. So everybody, if you're a Libra, pay attention. Here's Libra right here on the ascendant. That's how we start everything. So how appropriate that we should start by talking to a Libra. And the house that represents your family is the fourth house. And look at this loaded family house: Pluto, Moon, Mars, Venus, Saturn. So folks, guess what? If you're a Libra, right now, I'm sure you've got family on the mind. If you don't have family, it's friends who are family of choice that are on your mind. Okay, so there's a whole lot of stuff going on. And some could be good, some could be bad, because these planets can bring both of those things in. But by and large, it's going to be a good experience. Okay, now looking at this chart, this is 25 Libra on the on the cusp, and there are only 30 degrees in a sign. So Kelly, most of your sun sign is up here in the chart's 12th house. Only 5 degrees are in here in the first house. Now, the 12th house is all about deep thinking, subconscious, wondering about things, worrying about things sometimes, your dreams. So, let's take a look at just what you're worried about and concerned about. This is the house of health opposing this. You might have a lot of things going on with either your own or family's health, or you might have an interest in healing or learning to utilize things like psychic healing. You might be feeling drawn to a new profession that's either in the healing or the energy healing field. Folks, if you are a cardinal sign like Kelly, either a Libra, an Aries, a Cancer, or a Capricorn, a lot of these things are going on for you. Now, this is also involving a T-square in those cardinal signs. And the exit point for the energy there is right up here in the house that talks about travel. And it's right up here on the midheaven, which talks about career. So if you're a cardinal sign, you might be thinking about changing careers or changing where you're living, or maybe figuring out, well, how do I make these changes in my life that are going to be beneficial to me and also helpful to the family without disturbing what everybody else's life path is? How am I going to make it happen and help them while I free myself and give them support while I am able to make my own way in the world? How am I doing, Kelly?
Oh my gosh, everything that you have just said, we can make a whole Kelly show and
Mm.
talk about all of that. Yes, all of it's on my mind.
And why is it on your mind? Because all this emphasis is here on the house that talks about your unconscious, and that's bringing it up to the surface. So all these things that are bubbling underneath for so long are now coming to the surface, and you're saying, but what about me? You know, now, folks, Libras don't ever say, what about me, and just charge out to the world and leave everybody behind. It's just not in their character. But they've got to figure out a way where it can still be about you, but you aren't going to let down the people at work. That's Pluto and Capricorn. They're pretty domineering, aren't they? Or your mom who's older, or your brother or husband who is a little bit of a pushy person. That's being pleasant. Or your sister or your mother-in-law, who again could be older or have some issues or problems that you feel responsible for. Bottom line is that you're dealing with tons and tons of responsibilities that you have willingly taken on because you really love and care for these people and you feel like you want to fulfill those responsibilities. But now you're looking at life and saying, I count too, and my health and my well-being and my emotional stability, all this is important too, and I really have a right to do something for me too. Isn't that interesting? So you're kind of looking at these responsibilities you have willingly picked up, but you're rethinking them. How do I alter this in a way that works for everybody? So, Kelly, what's your specific question?
Well, tonight my specific question is actually on a relative of mine that's currently hospitalized in the Northeast area. Um, and I was just wondering if you and your guides or my guides could give any advice as to the causes of his current condition and or the proper treatment that he needs. He's a Gemini and he is also actually a twin.
Interesting. Who's the woman who's also hospitalized right now?
Ooh,
She's
I
important to
don't.
you, or also ill. She might not be hospitalized, but she's also very ill.
It could be my mom who's, going through a lot of different health issues.
Yeah, I think you've got two people, not just one. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Um, my guides are telling me that this is kind of heavy, Kelly, and I'm sorry to put it to you this way, but relative to the gentleman you're talking about, you know what's wrong with him. What you know is what's wrong with him. My guides are saying you already know, and
Hmm.
you've known for a while. Okay. You've observed, you've watched, you know, okay? Um, and you've also apparently tried to help in the past. You've offered help, and it has not been effective. And right now, he's also still refusing help. You're aware of that, yes?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you have another question. I'm going to ask you if this is what you want me to ask. Do you want me to ask my guides if he's going to survive this? Or do you want to just leave it there? Because you're poking at that question. Do you really want me to ask it, or do you want to just leave it?
I want to leave it.
Okay, I thought so. Leave it and leave it up to him. But understand that whatever's going on for him right now, you are correct in your assessment. He has in the past refused help, and he is refusing help right now. So in the past, he's been able to bounce back. Maybe he'll bounce back now. You didn't ask the question. My guides are not going to give that answer unless you ask. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
and I appreciate your saying nope, your boundaries. I don't need to know this. Now let's go over and look at the one that your guides really thought that you really wanted to be asking, and that has to do with your mother. Okay. Um, your mother's got a lot of, I'm going to use the term challenges. Okay. And you're aware of most of them. Relative to mom, her challenges are not diminishing. They're little things, but the things all add up. Okay. And what's happening is that she's constantly filled with fear and worry.
Mm-hmm.
Tell her this, please. That's where 90% of her issues that she's dealing with physically are coming from. She would be much, much, much healthier, much better off if she did what you're in the process of doing, if she learned to understand that everybody has their, I'm going to say their own life path. Everybody gets to orchestrate their own way of moving through life. If along your way you can reach out and lend a hand and you can help and you can be of service, well, how wonderful is that?
Mm-hmm.
But just like you didn't want to interfere with your fellows, what's going to happen with his health? We shouldn't be interfering with other people's life choices either. You see? Your
Mm-hmm.
mother does not understand that. And because she doesn't have control over other people's life choices, or even the things that are going on in the world, she's a nervous wreck. She constantly frets and worries, and then she gets another health problem. Follow what I'm saying?
Yep.
So she's doing it to herself. Meanwhile, something else you can tell her is that she's going to be around for a considerable time longer. So she can either keep fretting and worrying and beating on herself and get sicker and have to deal with sickness for a while longer, or she can let go of all these things that aren't really her business and take care of herself and release the pressure and release the frustration and the fear. And she can live those years, because she's got years ahead of her, in a very healthy, happy way. So give her power back, okay? And you don't have to get blamed for it. You can say Sandy the psychic told you that.
Very good. Well, I got 2 for 1, so thank you so much.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Kelly, thanks for some good questions there. And remember, if you are a Libra, an Aries, a Cancer, or a Capricorn, much of what I just said relative to Kelly about both of those people is pertinent either to you directly or to people who are close to you. So this bears thinking about, okay? Okay, Lisa, who is our next person who's got a question for me?
All right, our second person tonight is going to be Judy T. Judy, can you unmute?
Hello.
Hello, Judy. I hear you
Hi.
loud and clear.
Very good. Well, thank you for taking my call again. I've been on a number of these. I appreciate it. So I live in the high desert in California, and I am most thankful for the fact that I'm finally being successful at starting my retirement at the end of this month. Yay is right. I've been wanting this moment for so many years, and it's finally here, and I'm so thankful.
That's fabulous. Congratulations, Judy. And what's your son's sign?
Libra.
Another Libra.
Hey.
One indeed. Okay. So much of what I just got done saying is pertinent to you. Okay. And what's interesting is let's look at this this next section of this. 5 degrees of this are in the house, which is new beginnings. So what that says to me is here you are ready to plunge into your retirement. Unfortunately, a whole lot of you, not multiple people of you, but part of you, a big part of you, is still feeling like you've got to take care of everything at work. So there you are, instead of having all the parties and getting ready to leave, you're busy trying to get all the filing done and get all the people lined up who are going to take over your job and get that person trained. Okay.
Yeah, I had a little bit of that last Thursday, but at some point I said, you know what, I just have to let it go. I have to let that go. They've made their choices on what they've done, and it's not going to be my concern anymore. And as far as training goes, I've been there long enough, and if they didn't take advantage of the words I've already said, then there's the period at the end of the sentence. I can't do it in 3 days.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you for rolling in and telling us this, because here's an issue that's going on with all you cardinal signs. Remember, Libras, Aries, Cancers, and Capricorns. That difficulty that we have allowing somebody else to live their own life, leaving a job and leaving things undone, not having the person behind us fully trained, all of those things have to do with our own personal control issues. And so what you're actually telling me, Judy, is that you have come face to face with that already. You've already worked through it. And you said, you know, I'm not going to allow the job and the career to run my life anymore. Retirement means really retiring.
You
Ooh.
are 100% accurate. That's exactly how I feel.
So I'm going to move to the next section. Look at this. I'm teaching you astrology, by the way. Here's Libra, right? This is who Judy is. And there's this hard aspect of Pluto. That's the control issue I was talking about. That's, I have to control it all. It has to run my way forever. And you know it can't. It doesn't work that way. 2 minutes after you're out the door, they change it all anyway. Okay?
Yes.
Control doesn't work. That which you, remember this, folks, that which you try to control ultimately controls you. It's true. Okay? That's a Pluto lesson. So Judy's learned that lesson. That's the square aspect. And the rest of this house, moving into the first house, remember I said we're going to look at this 5 degrees? Trines, nice, happy, smooth aspect into Moon, Mars, Venus, Saturn. Judy, you really think you're going to retire, but I don't think you're going to.
Uh-oh.
I think, you know, you're probably going to do some nice social things. You're going to go around the country maybe and visit your family and your friends. You're going to really have a good time, you know, just being in your own space, studying the things you love. And before long, some of those things you love are going to draw you into your next profession.
Interesting.
So that's a prediction for you. Why? Because Libra's an air sign. All these planets are in Aquarius. That's another air sign. The air signs love people. They love discourse. They love study. They like their quiet time at home, but they have to get out there and be exchanging thoughts and ideas. You see how that works? And also in this grouping is Saturn. And Saturn is the planet that rules career and structure and new foundations. So you're going to take some time off and you're going to be meeting lots of people. The thing is that, you know, everybody you meet is going to have a problem you're going to solve. Or they're going to have an idea you're going to help them flesh out. Or they're going to have something they need help with and you're going to love doing it. And little by little, you're going to get drawn into what basically is another career, only one perhaps that you don't have to feel obligated to. You see the difference?
Yes, yes.
So don't worry about it, because based on this chart, it's all just going to flow. It will just happen. Some things in life do that. And you're going to end up with some very, very interesting choices in front of you over the next, probably next year. I don't think it's going to be a long time before your next potential professions start to show themselves to you. The big challenge is going to be to not get involved with everything you see immediately. Okay.
Yes, yes,
Do you
yes.
have any other questions? I didn't really ask you if you had a specific question.
Yes, I do. I'm going to be moving out of state probably sometime in May. The house is being built right now. My question is, am I going to be displaced for a while from the time that the escrow on this house closed to when my house is done? I'm concerned about having to stay at somebody's house or stay in a hotel for, a week or two while my contents of my house is in limbo somewhere.
The answer to that is yes. And I give you 3 cheers for being insightful. And so, I have a suggestion that's based on Sandy's personal experience that was very similar to yours many, many years ago. Why not put the contents of your house while you're in the process of moving into a pod? And then you don't have a headache. You don't have any fears. And when the house is ready, they plant the pod out in your backyard and you get to bring it in piece by piece and put it where you want it.
Well, there's something similar to that in the works already with the moving company. My concern was because he told me the more times I move your stuff, the more breakage you'll have. And that
Yeah.
is a concern of mine. So the things can be stored at his place, but I would rather that they go from this house to the new house. But are you seeing a long period of time where I'm going to be displaced?
Well, will it be a long period of time? I don't think so. When you were saying the 1 or 2 weeks, that may be the length of time. And when you were saying, would I stay at a friend's house? I think there's somebody that you've either worked with or that has their own company, might help them out with things. That's the person that you probably will do some, spend some time with them. But I don't feel it's more than a few days.
Oh, yeah, 2 days I can handle that. But if it's like 2 weeks, I was starting to get really kind of nervous and I am losing sleep over.
Longer than 2 days. Will it be as long as 2 weeks? It could be. I get a 2. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Will it be longer than 2 weeks? No. I think
Okay.
the maximum, it could be shorter, but I don't think it'll be longer than 2 weeks.
So either 2 days or 2 weeks is what you're seeing because you're seeing the number 2.
Yeah, it's going to be longer than 2 days.
Okay.
Okay. Um, I would figure it's going to be closer to the 2 week period. Or remember the 2 could be like the 22nd or 12. Okay. It could be
Okay.
the date that they're giving me.
Okay.
So I think you're going to be making some wise decisions, and I agree with you. And the big thing is packing it right.
Right.
Pack
Yeah.
it, since you know that there's going to be a little bit of extra, time involved, very, very likely between the old place and the new place. Pack it in a way as if it was coming brand new. And I don't know if having it packed. My guys are saying you're packing it yourself. Yes.
You are right. I have 25 boxes ready to go.
Yeah, and if it's packed right in there, you could probably bounce it up and down a couple of times and not break those glasses, but you've got
Yeah,
to get.
I'm more concerned about my furniture, the stuff that I cannot physically move myself or pack myself. That's my concern.
Will the furniture? You know what I'm giggling at? My guys just
Well,
said,
there's a lot of glass.
no, my guys just said, Sandy, look at the chart. Remember I told you Libras are dealing with this power issue, control, giving up control? Look at where the giving up control is happening for you. So you gave up control at work, and so
Yeah.
you're having trouble giving up control over the mover. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So the only thing you can really do is really, really be there when they're packing that stuff up and make sure it's packed right.
Okay.
And make sure that it's insured.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
This again Sandy's lived a long time with a lot of interesting experiences. Make sure not only that you have the good insurance you need, but that the people who are doing the packing know that you have the insurance and it comes out of their pay.
Okay.
Do I
Thank you.
sound really mean? Yeah.
Well, we have to cover ourselves these days.
And you can even give them, you always give the people who do the packing a little tip. I hope nobody here's a packer. You can get their 20 minutes You give them half the tip now, and if everything arrives happy on the other end, you get this much more. See that? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All makes good sense.
Yeah, it does. But seriously, the best thing you can do is to make sure it's packed right. And believe me,
Okay.
they know how to pack it so that it's not going to have any problem.
Okay.
And when I ask my guides, are you going to get any major breakage, they're telling me no.
Oh,
But
thank goodness.
probably it's because you're going to do those things right. But
Yeah.
I laugh to myself, sure enough, the need to control everything is still here. But it's
Yeah. Yeah. I've worked hard to have what I have, and I just can't start all over with, things breaking that I've had that I love so much.
And that's another thing too, and we really probably should get into this. Folks, a lot of people don't realize that as we grow, inevitably, we have to leave part of the past behind. For example, you can't have your new house and live in your new house unless you give up living in the old house. That's the way life works, okay? So, yes, it's important to have and cherish the people and the things that are in our life right now because, folks, they're never going to come again. Each and every person, each and every thing that you have that has a memory for you, that you have a love for, it's so special. It is so unique. But there will come a time when it is gone and something brand new will come in to replace it. And just understand that's part of the lesson at work here, too. Okay. And that could
Yeah.
have the people at work that you're leaving behind, the job, the kinds of work that you used to do, the things you got appreciated for, things about your old home that you dearly love that you know this new home won't have. It's all part of our growth. In order to grow, we have to leave the old behind. It's just part of.
Yeah, I am very much looking forward to my new life, new experiences, new people to talk to, listen to their stories, and new places to hike and adventure. I mean, it's all positive things coming my way.
Yeah.
I just have this big hurdle I have to get over right now, which is departing from this house and the paperwork and all that other stuff that goes with it. But
Yeah.
I am truly looking forward.
And you know what else is kind of interesting? You're going to find is, folks, this is for everybody, not just the cardinal signs, everybody. You're going to find, and this is also that Pluto energy we're seeing right here on the bottom of the chart. The more energy you put into creating something, the harder it is, the more you have to push, the more you have to struggle to make it happen. The harder it ultimately is to let go of and leave, so that eventually, you're busy shaking it off your foot. It's like you can't get rid of it, which is, I bet you this house that you got into was really hard to get into. It was a struggle. You really wanted it badly. You had to move heaven and earth to get into the house. So now it feels like you have to move heaven and earth to get out of it too.
Yeah, it took me 2 years to find it, but I think COVID played a role in that with some of the builders pulling out of the area that I was previously looking at. But I'm happy with where I'm going. I think it's a good choice.
And it's all going to work out. And the more you allow things to unfold, as hard as that may be, the more smooth and the easier it's all going to go.
Okay.
Hey, congratulations on all of this and good luck to you in your new place.
Thank you very much for all the time that you spent with me. And I will, once I move, I'm going to continue to listen in on these. I love this. It's like
Awesome.
another.
I'm very grateful for all these good things happening to you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Okay, Lisa, who's next?
All right, lucky 3 tonight is going to be Brandon. Brandon, can you unmute?
Hi, Sandy. How are you doing?
And then you are surprised that you got called on. I feel that. It's like, whoa, I don't know if I have a question now.
That's very much true.
You're calling from where?
Well, I live in Lakeland, but I'm calling from Minnesota.
Okay. Oh, up north where it's still cold. How's the
Oh,
weather at
it's frigid. I miss home.
home? Yeah, there's really an extreme. I don't know, folks, if you know, Orlando is pretty much central Florida, so it's warm. Okay, and and it is up in the land of the cold. The Floridians figure only Eskimos live that far north. I'm really just kidding. But Brandon, you can handle it. And
You
Brandon, what's your sun sign?
I'm an Aries.
And
And
Brandon, over here in the Aries side of the chart, see where my cursor is? Go ahead.
I was just going to say I resonate so far with everything that you've said so far.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm grateful that I'm back to work, although I'm extremely exhausted about that. But I'm grateful for it because um, it's it's bringing in the money, and from that aspect, that's what I'm grateful for. Is I'm working and my partner's working with me, so it's all really good things.
Yep. And here's what's interesting is here's the he's in Aries, and look at Aries is in this house, this sixth house in the astrology chart, and that's the house of health. And so, Brandon, you got to kind of watch your own health right now. Don't burn the candle at both ends. What's interesting though is the Chiron, this little job here that most people don't recognize. It's a upside down. It's a circle with a line coming off the top and a squiggle on it. That's the symbol for Chiron, who is astrology's healer. And so this says that, while you're on the road, if you, because I remember, am I talking to the right Brandon, by the way? You're the one who drives for
Yep,
a living?
yep,
Okay.
yep.
Okay. So just want to make sure before my guys drive. Can we be sure? Yeah, he's showing me behind. They're showing me the good. Now, I do have a question. Why are you doing most of the driving? Doesn't your partner drive too?
Yeah, he drives. Um,
Why are you doing most of the driving? Your control issue?
well, yeah.
Mm,
I suffer from PTSD. I was in a previous rollover, so
mm.
I take on a lot of the responsibility.
Yeah. Do you realize that if you actually gave him the power that he really should have to be able to drive, that you would be able to get that extra sleep and that healing energy that you're looking for to kind of pull yourself back together again would come to fruition? Because you see, the biggest thing that was creating problems for you before was the fear about not having enough, about the monetary situation, right? And
Yep,
that fear has been lifted. So now it's just a matter of you making sure that you make up on the sleep, that you get to do the studies you want to do, that you get to play a little bit. And that means that you've got to give up control and let him be behind the wheel by himself without you telling him how to do every little thing.
it's a struggle. It's a daily struggle. It really is.
Control. You cardinal sign people, you're all dealing with control issues, aren't you? You really are. Control issues. And even those of you, I'm going to laugh about this one, even those of you listening to this who don't have a life partner, maybe you live completely alone, you don't have a family, right? Well, you're having control issues with your neighbor or with your fur baby or with your own dreams. Maybe you can't get control of your own lifestyle or what you really want out of life. Maybe you're giving yourself the control issues. It's a war within you. But cardinal sign folks, you're having these control issues, and the life situation that you're in is going to force you to take a look at what you need to renovate and resolve in your life. Where do you need to give up and release control so that you can feel whole and healthy and happy again? Okay. So, Brandon, what is your specific question?
Well, since starting working again, I've noticed that it's just almost an inability to save, even though my expenses are non-existent. I mean, I got the cell phone and car, but eh. And I'm wondering if this issue is going to go away so that way I can focus on the bigger goal of building a home, or if there's something else that just has to change. Maybe it's the wrong spot, or you know what I mean? There's something that's not adding up.
Yeah, but what I'm seeing here is that there needs to be a, and I might be talking about issues between you and your partner here, only you know that, but there seem to be issues with a separation of funds, and that could be between you and your partner. It could also be, I'm going to direct you towards a fellow that you can find this program online. His name is T as in Thomas, period, Harb, Harb, Ecker, Eker. Okay. A long time ago, I studied with T. Harv Eker, who has this phenomenal how to handle money program. And what he did, it's an old one, he created 9 jars. And every time even a single dollar comes in, it gets divided among those 9 jars, period. And so you are going to automatically save for the class you want, save for the house you want, save. And if the money isn't in jar number 1, which is for, eating out, well, then
Mhm.
you eat out that night, you see?
Right.
So, and you're going to have to work on that because apparently, what I'm getting here is that you and your partner handle money totally differently. And I
You.
think right
That's
now,
actually true.
yeah, and I don't think you're the only one having an issue here. I think your partner's having the same issue and probably has the same frustration because somehow when you both want it, it's not going to be there because you're both spending it differently. Okay? So bottom line is that, and you're getting a little look, by the way, here at what I can help you to do in my March special or my May special about how to resolve financial issues. What you
Mhm.
and your partner need to do is number one, when the money comes in, it gets distributed. Period. The immediate expenses for running the business get paid. The remainder gets divvied up in half between him and you. And then each one of you has your 9 jars about what you're allowed to spend on what, okay, during the month, and you don't break it out. If it's not, you have to honestly look at it and say, okay, these savings are for the house. If that's for the house, I don't take it out to eat.
Okay.
Okay, and I mean it's kind of a simple way of looking at it, but believe me, it works. And unless you have that kind of a rigid way of budgeting, probably not going to get the house that you want.
Okay.
That was a good question, and again, I think it probably helped everybody else on the call. That's a big one.
Thank you, Sandy.
You're very welcome. Thank you. And Lisa, who's next?
All right, lucky number 4 tonight is going to be Elizabeth. Elizabeth, can you unmute? Hello, Elizabeth.
Hello. Oh,
Hi, Elizabeth.
am I mute? Okay, you can hear me.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, good. Oh, this is the first for me. My name's Elizabeth. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and my sign is Scorpio. And I'm grateful for my family here and in spirit.
Nice. And Elizabeth, as a Scorpio, you know you're a fixed sign. And here is where you're located. Most of you is in this first house, which is you're really thinking about you and opportunities and changes that are coming into your life, perhaps things having to do with relationships and big shifts and changes in your relationships, opportunities that could be good. Um, and the rest of that is in here in the second house, which is about finances. And you're repeating perhaps past patterns having to do with finances. Okay. And so we're going to want to take a look at both of those things. And folks, what I'm saying to Elizabeth talks about all the fixed signs, the Scorpios, the Tauruses, the Aquarians, the Leos. And you fixed sign people are dealing with a T-square that has its exit point into the house of career. So what you're going to do with your life, what you're going to do for a living, how you're going to bring your income in, what your life plan is, what your the way you want the world to see you when all is said and done. All these things are coming into play in a very subtle way right now with the choices you make. As you were, introducing yourself, Elizabeth, I was already pulling some cards for you. And the first 2 cards I pulled talk about you're having a gentleman in your life. I don't know if this is a marriage partner, love relationship, lover, or if this is a son. Okay. I see this person as being either physically younger than you or maybe just less mature than you are. And you see him as kind of acting about things and taking chances and doing things without thinking them through. And you really want to control that. So there's your control issue because guess what? The more you
Yeah,
want to control that, the more crazy it's going to make you.
yeah,
Is it going to have any result? Is it going to fix the problem? No, it's just going to make him act crazier because
yeah,
he'll have greater resistance, and it's going to make you more frustrated. Okay, the biggest concern you seem to have is about finances. It seems
right.
like concerned either about the way this person's handling finances or whether or not you should trust him in handling your mutual finances. And if you don't get that situation straightened out, there's going to be a very good possibility of you are no longer having anything to do with that person. So you seem to be the I'm either all in or I'm out kind of a personality, which is not so unusual for Scorpio. So either he's going to have to let you have a little bit of control here. He's going to have to start listening. At a meeting of the minds, you can bend a little, he can bend a little, or this relationship is not going to be something you involve yourself with any longer. Does that make sense to you?
It does.
Okay. So go ahead and ask your specific question.
Well, yeah, I guess that. So, you are saying it, I wouldn't have the relationship if I'm kind of like all or nothing, if he doesn't let me have a little control, or if I don't bend and let him have some.
Exactly.
Stop doing control.
And you got to understand, I know this is kind of sometimes this is real upsetting, but you're interested in someone here who approaches life, not just money, approaches life in a radically different way than you do. He's much, much more of a chance taker. He doesn't share, he acts. And generally speaking, he acts so fast that he doesn't have time to share. You understand what I'm talking about? So that's the kind of a person who makes a wonderful first responder, right? He's the person who can, catch the ball, bam, without even thinking about it because he can respond that quickly. But his responses don't give him a chance to really discuss and plan and think them out. And sometimes he's on the ball and he catches the ball. Other times, he reaches for it, it goes whizzing by and hits somebody in the head. And you end up getting fixated on he can hit people on the head because sometimes he's not fast enough. He should have talked to me about it. You see what I'm saying? The thing is, you're not going to change who he is. The person you're in love with, the person you care about here, is this guy who to you appears really crazy and doesn't think things through. Meanwhile, from his perspective, you're kind of stuck in the mud and it's really hard to get you to take a first step with anything. So he feels like he's dealing with constant resistance. You see that? Interesting thing that is attracting you to each other is your difference, that you are so very, very different.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to recognize one another's differences and honor them, and then find a middle of the road position that you can both live with, or the relationship is not going to be able to survive. Does that make sense to you?
It does. Yeah.
It's not that there's nothing wrong with who he is. There's nothing wrong with who you are. But boy, you're different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've been told that. Very different. And okay, my question is a little different than that subject. My question is, so I had some guidance earlier from your guides. This was a while back, that there was some chaos with a close friend of mine and I think it was chaos maybe with my life partner, which was, I had asked what was blocking me from mediumship. And then I tried to work on forgiveness with my close friend and just kind of like not be, if my life partner is irritable or irritated, just tried to not be around that. I don't know what else to do, but however, I still not felt like I'm really making connection yet to spirit. So is there anything else I could do to
Yeah,
start?
there is. There it is. And there's something more that's an obstacle. It shows right here in the chart. And this is going to be an obstacle for a whole lot of you who are on this call who really would like to do anything in the psychic field or in the helping field professionally. Your inner self has a resistance to charging money and making money on something like mediumship or like reading or like, you follow what I'm saying? Now, what I say to you, would you go up to your family doctor that you meet in the street and ask him for free advice about a medical condition you have and expect to not pay him for it? Of course not. Okay.
Mhm.
And so you wouldn't expect somebody to do the same thing with a psychic or a medium either, but people do it all the time. People do that with people who are psychic healers. For some reason, there is this feeling in the world that if somebody has a psychic gift, quote unquote, that they owe it to humanity to give that gift out for free. And maybe in days gone by, that was feasible because those people who were psychics, and especially in places like India, they were gurus. The society supported them, so of course they could work for free. But in our world today,
Yeah.
you have to be paid. And
Okay.
something inside of you, I think this is a family pattern, it's something you were told, is that if you have a gift, it should be given for free. If you have a healing gift, it should be given for free. You're feeling like this is a God-given gift. I don't really have a right to charge for it. So you see, in your mind, you're thinking, or maybe not even your mind, your unconscious mind is thinking, I want to be able to, I have had mediumship experiences. I know I'm a good medium. Okay, it's happened. And
Mhm.
as soon as you said, I want to be able to do this professionally, I want to be able to make money with it, it's almost like it turned off, didn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. And so what you're doing is you're stubbing your toe against that subconscious boundary that says, if God gave me this gift, it should be free to everybody else too. But you see, you're forgetting, and you got to feed this into your subconscious, which is why I'm telling you again, you've got to give yourself the other end of that. That God gave you the gift because you have the ability to support you and your family with it. So you therefore have the right to charge what you need to support yourself to be able to utilize the gift. You see that, round robin? You
Mhm.
you have half the thought. You've got to complete the thought. Okay. And I also want to tell you, this is a big one in the psychic field. I've been teaching people to be psychics, channels, mediums, tarot readers, you name it, healers. I've been teaching for 40 years. And I would say at least 90% of my students have the same built-in subconscious resistance that we're talking about here. So you have to give yourself the right to have the gift and to be able to earn your living with the gift. That's a big block for you.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. If you're, folks, our society, and I don't particularly agree with this, but it is part of our society, a big part of our society measures success by money. I was a practicing psychic supporting my family for almost 20 years. And my mom, who was alive back then, kept saying, when are you going to get a real job? Okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I was working in a bookstore as a psychic reader. I had just moved and I was trying to get started again. I was getting back on my feet. And after I got the job in the bookstore, my mother came into the bookstore to visit me one day and said, oh, it's so nice that you finally got a job. I thought, how crazy is this? Because the job had a sign on the front and I was now working for somebody else, I had a job, so I was legit. Okay.
Yeah.
We have these subconscious rules in our society. You know, you got to work for somebody else. You got to have a weekly paycheck. You can't just have your own business. You can't have your own gift and be successful with it. And you know, heaven forbid you should be really good at what you do and get paid for what you're doing, because you know we have that whole paradigm in our society with all this mental resistance about how we earn our money, how we earn our living. And you need to rewrite that book. You need to set yourself free from it. And surprise, surprise, if you're married, you're going to find out that your husband or your lover, whoever he is going to be super thrilled that you can actually do mediumship and bring home some good money with it.
Oh, okay, good.
So he might not celebrate the fact that you're a psychic, but he will celebrate the extra money with food on the table.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, very good.
hate that it's that way, but we do live in that world. It hasn't changed yet to where we psychics are honored simply because of our gift. It will, but it's not there yet. Okay?
Okay.
You can do it.
Okay.
I mentioned that fellow before. I guess I'm pushing him. T. Harv Eker. There's another one called Eben, E-B-E-N, Pagan, P-A-G-A-N, who also has a wonderful class on money, the money mindset that is very, very helpful for people like us who end up being trapped in preconceived notions about what we're allowed to make money from and what we're not. Okay.
Okay.
I remember myself when I was working as a safety engineer and I was earning good money, and I was also working as a psychic and I was not earning such good money. And my psychic clientele had built up to the point that I couldn't do both. One job had to go. So I had the job as the safety engineer that paid all the bills, and I had the job as the psychic that couldn't support anybody. Okay. And I said, in order for me to be able to bridge that gap, I have to be able to make that money. And so in my head, I started to see my clients in terms of the dollars I could get per reading. And you want to know what happened to me? Exactly what happened to you. My gift from one moment to the other shut off. It was like my guides just left. They said, nope, we're not going to let you do that. And I said, well, how am I going to do this then? And they said, trust. So I had to stop seeing my clients as a dollar sign. I saw them as people I needed and wanted to help.
Okay.
And guess what? My practice grew and grew and grew and grew, and money was never an object. Okay?
Yeah.
I didn't see the person as the money.
Yeah.
Interesting, huh? That had to do, I'm sharing that because I think your mind works the same way.
Okay.
Okay? See it as another person you can help, and see it as the money that is exchanging hands as the universe supporting you so that you can do this work. Okay? It's a change in the paradigm of how your mind works around money.
Yeah.
Folks, I think that was a great question to end our session on this evening. We covered a lot of ground, and I want to thank you, Elizabeth, very much for bringing that out, because I suspect that we have half of the people on this call who either they're thinking about changing jobs and becoming a psychic, or they're thinking about changing a job from something that they've been doing for a long time that makes a lot of money into something else that doesn't make so much money. And I think understanding that the element of trust is very important. That if you're building your own business, especially no matter what you're building your business in, you have to have that trust that, provided you're seeing the big picture, what I'm doing is going to accomplish this, that the way to increase your income back to whatever you need is going to be provided. You just have to keep your eyes open to recognize the possibility and the potential. So Elizabeth, thank you so very much. I appreciate that. And folks, the time goes so quickly when we're here together. I want to say thank you so much for being here with me tonight. I want to remind you that if I didn't get to your question, I will be glad to answer it. Please send me a simple email, simple question, make it direct so I can know exactly what you're asking. And make sure I know your sun sign. If you don't know the sun sign, give me your date of birth and what you're most grateful for. And of course, your name and your email. And you can either send it directly to the email that is on this site, or you can send it to lisa.sa.inc@aol.com. And I want to remind you that's only for people who have stayed here with me until the end of the session this evening. Thank you so much, folks. I'll see you next month. And next month's Psychic Hour is going to be on April 24th of 22. Good night. Love you much. Bye-bye.